This is just a brief little podcast. I'm doing just like, I guess, a State of the Union address of what I've been doing with this one. So I really, I know I started late. You know, the new WWE game comes out in about a month and a half. So I've had a lot of free time, especially this summer. If you've gone back and seen some of my other playlists, so forth, you've seen I've done this over and over again, just get new ideas and so forth. This is my first time doing it on Next Gen, so it was a lot more that I was able to do with this one compared to playing it on the PS3 and doing Universe Mode on PS3, and just even when on the PS3 before I put them on YouTube, you know, I would only do them for so long, and then I would get burnout and then want to start a new one. But I'm gonna try to stick this one out and get this wrapped up, maybe hopefully before the next game comes out. This one I've been cranking out a lot of videos and streams, I should say, you know, in weeks or whatever. It's gonna be hard to, you know, get through another 6-7 months. You know, we also did a lot of pay-per-views and you know, a lot of special events and so forth, but that's all getting cut back now that I've gotten to SummerSlam, and I pretty much kind of wanted to set the standard for what I was trying to do with this one. So just wrapped up SummerSlam. Not going to talk about the results. You have to go back, watch the video. You could, you know, cheat, go look at the description, see what's the matches are, and then, you know, pull up the video while you know, looking at the description, and then just maybe if you want to fast forward to certain matches and you want to see those matches in particular, or you just want to kind of skip to the end so you just see what happened. Alright, so of course we have Raw and SmackDown coming up next, and then we have the NXT program. So what I'm doing is Raw and SmackDown, just to give you kind of a heads up. SummerSlam was in LA. We're going to do Raw and SmackDown. Raw is going to be in Anaheim. SmackDown is going to be in Bakersfield. NXT is going all the way back home to Orlando. And of course you see the British flag right here. That's because I am now going to incorporate NXT UK. I kept thinking about it. And then it's funny because like some of the stuff that I think about doing, and then like the next week I see the same thing on WWE, and it's like I know that, you know, WWE maybe had it planned, you know, a month in advance, you know, of what they were going to do. So I might be quote unquote late to it, but it's funny just like how that coincidence works out. So I decided to incorporate, you know, NXT UK and the whole situation of condensing 205 Live and NXT together, you know, moving some superstars around, retiring out superstars and so forth. So it's going to be, of course, I don't have the whole NXT UK roster on this game. I did go online, finally it hit me. I'm like, you know what, let me go online and see if some people created some characters. So I did find a couple of decent characters that I like, but only a couple. So the NXT UK is really going to be WWE and NXT superstars that I'm moving over to that brand to give it like a small little roster so it can have its own little show, and I can switch up, do something different. Already created belts. Here, matter of fact, I could even show you that. Matter of fact, let's go back. As far as Raw, we show you we're still keeping that the same. The Universal Championship, Women's Championship, Raw Women's Championship, keeping the light heavyweight championship on there. Changed up the title a little bit, the centerpiece, and then the Raw tag team championships. Moving over to SmackDown Live, got the, you know, new WWE championship, because I hate that it says World Heavyweight at the bottom. So, you know, that new blue focused WWE championship for the blue brand. You have the women's, clockwise, the women's SmackDown Women's Championship, the Intercontinental title staying there, and then you have the SmackDown Tag Team titles on NXT now with the 205 Live being incorporated. I'm bringing back the North American Championship, so if you've been watching, stay tuned, because that's coming. That's going to be a new or champion will be made for that one, since it's a belt that's not being held right now. And we have the NXT Championship, of course. We have the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Women's Tag Team Championships over there. We have the NXT, just regular NXT Women's Championship as well. And then we have the Cruiserweight Championship. So I kind of changed that belt up a little bit, gave it a little bit of a different look, added, incorporated some more orange from that 205 Live, purple and orange idea. So changed that belt up a little bit. And then for and even if you pay attention to the roster sizes are not necessarily going to be the way it's looking right now. NXT UK is already set up. NXT is going to be some superstars coming off of this one, because some superstars are. I've still left superstars on NXT, even though some are going to UK. Some, might switch over to SmackDown or Raw, so forth. So it's not actually going to really be 44 people on here when it's all said and done in a matter of a few weeks on the show. In a few weeks in the show's time, like a month's time of doing streams, some of those superstars are going to come off of the roster as they move on to other brands. And then so for NXT UK Championship, and these are not set up here in specific of what I'm seeing as most relevant and important. I just wanted to put them in slots, whatever. So for you, NXT UK brand, of course, we're bringing back the United Kingdom Championship. Early in the stream, I will tell you that, remember, I combined the NXT, or I should say WWE, technically it's called the WWE United Kingdom Championship, or they might actually really call it the NXT UK Championship now, but on the game it's still called the WWE United Kingdom Championship. So remember, I could combine those two, the North American Championship and the United Kingdom Championship, and made the NXT Intercontinental Championship. And then Pete Dunne went on to defeat Kevin Owens in a champion versus champion situation to claim the WWE Intercontinental Championship. And after I did that, I was sitting there and was like, you know what? I mean, I kind of planned it like weeks ahead. It's just I had to play it out in the storyline. I'm like, you know what? Let me bring back the North America. Because at first, my thing was like, hey, they have both of them on one brand, since WWE doesn't have on the Universal have UK. So I'm like, hey, let me go ahead and combine these two, because I'm like, I don't get to me, I'm kind of like, United States is part of a continent, even though I understand WWE is in the US. I'm sure if it was in a lot of other countries, they would have their own individual country belt. But I'm like, hey, you got a US Championship and an Intercontinental Championship. The US is part of a continent. The Intercontinental Championship, in a sense, is bigger because it's saying, well, it's just like if you had the North American Championship and then the World Championship. Well, the World Championship is going to be bigger because the world is a bigger scope than the North American Championship. North America is just part of the world. So that's why I went and created the Light Heavyweight Championship, to give the light heavyweight wrestlers their own belt to align them with. So saying all of that, bringing back the North American Championship for NXT, and then for NXT UK, I'm bringing back the WWE United Kingdom Championship. I created this women's NXT Championship. You'll see it zoomed in. I don't want to click on it right now and zoom it in, because I don't want to expose what wrestlers and superstars that I have fighting for each title. So I'm gonna leave it right here, but you'll be able to see it in the streams and coming up in a few days. Then I have a world, so you have the SmackDown Live, you have the Raw Championship. So I just made a World Championships, because UK is not going to be limited to just UK. It's going to be, as you see at the top, I created a NXT European Championship. So it's going to be not just UK wrestlers, of course. It's going to be wrestlers from all across Europe and involving also Australia, so forth, that's going to be on this brand. So it's a World Tag Team Championship, WWE United Kingdom Championship, the NXT UK Women's Championship, and then also the European Championship. So from there, just again, not going to go long with this. So we're going to do, like I said, Raw, Anaheim, SmackDown Live, Bakersfield. NXT is going back to Orlando. And I haven't really decided if I'm going to do the UK show this week yet, or if I'm going to wait until the next week to go ahead and do it, to start it up here and just do a show. It'd probably be better to go ahead and do it now, because then I could build up 2 storylines, because 2 weeks of storylines, because right here, yeah, you know what, let me do it that way, because it'll be better to build up the 2 weeks of storylines, because of here you see just the takeover logo. That's going to be because this week, when we get to this week, I'm taking Raw and SmackDown Live, I'm going to take them over to England. So they'll be doing, from London, they'll be doing, basically 2 nights of shows there. And then we'll have, let me do it that way. Let me just do it all where they're all, because that way it'll look like it's all in one move, instead of, hey, we already had a show in England and then we bring the big shows over. So they'll all be there for that same week. So I'm not going to do one yet. So you have to wait past 1 week and then we'll get to here. And this was set up for the takeover event, where it's going to be NXT TakeOver UK, and then this is going to set up after here. This is where we'll give all our champions belts, and then it'll start up the regular show that will move forward from there. So we have I'm going back to one major brand, individual brands. So Raw will have its own pay-per-views again, SmackDown will have its own pay-per-views again, and so I'm going back to that, and I'm doing like basically one a month for that as well, because you kind of see, if you keep up with storyline, you can get redundant with storylines, it can get cluttered and so forth. So these here, you can ignore these that are blacked out right now, because that was just like, this was for the NXT TakeOver Bash at the beach. Well, I've already changed it up now because I started editing up the schedule. So Hell in a Cell here, this is going to be a SmackDown Live exclusive pay-per-view in September. And then we move on to October. I'm sticking with my whole thing of, every 2 to 3 weeks, doing pay-per-views. I know, like, even when I watch wrestling, sometimes going 4 weeks, the storylines just kind of drag on, the matches kind of drag. It's like you could tell they're stalling out to the pay-per-view to wrap up a storyline. I'm like, hey, you could like do, mini wrap-ups and then give them something else to build towards to, if it's going to be 6 weeks between a brand specific pay-per-view or something like that, instead of trying to stretch one storyline for 6 weeks. And it's just like, okay, I got bored with this once we hit the week 4, and then now I gotta wait 2 more episodes and then the pay-per-view. So TLC is going to be a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, and then down here Halloween Havoc is going to be a United States NXT exclusive pay-per-view right there. And then we move on. This is going to be a actually, I meant to take this over here because I'm not going to actually do this one. Because with this man here, since we have Survivor Series and it's Raw versus SmackDown, this takeover right here, this is going to be a United Kingdom, United States NXT same situation. So champions from each brand will go up against each other. So the United Kingdom champion will go up against I haven't decided yet, honestly, because I'm not even having decided who's going to be the champions on each brand yet. And then if you play the game, the game will sit there and it will do situations where you're trying to wrestle a match and they'll force somebody else to win the match, and you'll be like, messing up our storylines, man, because you're forcing somebody to specifically to win a match when I tried to make somebody else win this match. So, but in the same idea of like how Raw versus SmackDown, this is going to allow me to do UK versus US on this pay-per-view here, but I haven't decided yet how I'm gonna set that up. So if it's going to be the NXT champion versus the European champion, or the European champion versus the North American champion and the UK champion. I mean, I guess it would make more sense again to go back to the UK champion versus the North American champion, and then even still, United Kingdom is a country. Who knows? We'll figure it out once we get there. We'll see like who's the champions and what would be looking better as far as matchups to make a good storyline or plot or whatever. So anyway, moving on from there, then we have Payback, which will be another Raw exclusive pay-per-view. So after we do Raw's got its single there, then Survivor Series is the joint pay-per-view, and then we go back to a Raw pay-per-view exclusively first on its own, and then No Mercy will be a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, and then we get to the Royal Rumble, where again, joint brands pay-per-view. So this NXT takeover will be a likely a joint brand pay-per-view, or I might like come over here and do like a UK, do something with the UK, because we're going into WrestleMania, and I might just end up having to go back after here and figure out somewhere to put in the UK. I guess if you keep the UK kind of separate, it's its own thing. Like I could probably put a UK one right here, since it'll be a joint. No, it'll be yeah. You know what? So let's do that here. This will be a UK pay-per-view. So at least we have it in there. And I know this was one, but I'm annoying like that. So I haven't set them all the way up yet. I just was doing this just so I can have them on the map so I can see it. I just did that again. So I can see it, for myself, and to talk about it for the podcast. All right, so go back here. All right, so there we go, that one, and then we got this one here in between those two. Okay, then we have there. Okay, then we have the Royal Rumble. I think I'll keep it that way, and then let's skip a month to kind of, well, they did here. Let's go. So this would actually be Royal Rumble there. That's WrestleMania here. This will be here. So let's do UK, NXT UK exclusive pay-per-view somewhere in between here, between one of these. Let me see. I don't have the video pulled up right now, so let me go back over here. I usually don't watch the stream while I'm doing my little podcast. Let me try to see if I can go pull this up real quick so I can check this. I just happen to have my laptop still open because I had just finished editing the SummerSlam stream. YouTube can be super slow when it wants to be. But while I'm trying to do that, I'm almost done. Try to get this pulled up while I'm almost done with this. Let me just go open up a whole separate tab. So yeah, UK, we'll do another UK exclusive pay-per-view after this one, somewhere between the Royal Rumble and Fastlane. So probably one of these 2 weekends we'll do an NXT UK exclusive pay-per-view. Then Fastlane will be a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. The Elimination Chamber will be a Raw pay-per-view, and then we'll hit WrestleMania weekend. And of course, again, this will be a takeover over here. This will be the WrestleMania pre-show. This will be WrestleMania. So pre-show, we might do it big like they do and have like 6 matches on the pre-show. So had like a 13 match pay-per-view. Because if you go back and see SummerSlam, it took me almost 2 hours to stream that one. And so it does seem like, outside of, you do want to make the pay-per-views, especially the 4 major pay-per-views, more entertaining when you're playing it. So you want to make the matches more interesting than just a regular Raw SmackDown episode match. So you kind of want to elongate the matches and not try to get the matches over as quickly. But it even seems like the game recognizes if it's a Sunday event, then it's a pay-per-view event. So let's make the matches more dramatic. Why is it still taking this long for this YouTube tab to pull up? And this is why I hate using Chrome and I use the Internet Explorer. Alright, so let's go over here real quick to see what the comment is. The person probably left by now. Go to your channel. Go to your podcast. The person probably left by now. Your channel. There we go. Oh, okay. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Here, let me try to. He's probably gone by now. Oh, okay. Hey, I appreciate it. There we go. So, all right, thank you. You could hear, see, I pulled it up loud. You could probably hear it in the background on the microphone. But, and you see, that's my comment there, commenting back to him. So that's it for this podcast. Like I said, I wasn't trying to really go that long on it. But just wrapped up SummerSlam. So be looking out, because after the fallout from SummerSlam, we're leading up to Survivor Series, then the Royal Rumble, and then WrestleMania. And so I'm going to have some changes coming to the brands for Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Don't even pay attention to that rivalry. I'll give you that little hint. Both Aleister Black and Drew McIntyre are going over to NXT UK. So, and don't pay attention to this one because, of course, AJ Styles and Adam Cole are not going to be part of NXT UK. So, but I'll give you a little hint on that one since that's already on the screen. They will actually be going over to NXT UK as part of the whole European thing for that one. Right. So, if you've been watching the streams, if you've been, coming and checking out the storyline, if you didn't catch on to this playlist until episode 45, because SummerSlam was episode 73. So even if you're just catching on now, if you get bored, you want to go back and catch a couple of episodes, kind of figure out what I've been doing with the storylines and so forth. Just be prepared, because especially for anybody who might watch this from overseas, don't feel like, hey man, you left us out. You left out the United Kingdom. I'm looking out for you. I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Let's show some love to the UK, and let's show some love, because NXT is the best brand that WWE has under their business. So let's go ahead and show the Europeans some love and give them their own show. So, all right, appreciate you. I'm about to jump off now. It's 8:39 in the morning. I woke up real early and did that 2-hour SummerSlam stream to get that knocked out. So I'm about to relax right now, give me something to eat and so forth. That I might come on later if there aren't any good college football games that I want to watch, and knock out a couple more streams, because I get excited about this. I want to get here so bad, because I want to do this one. I want to get to the NXT UK and see what I'm doing with that, and then that's the one I'm most excited about. I'm not as much excited about doing the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I want to see when I'm creating something new for this is what I get revved up for. So I want to see what I'm gonna end up doing. I have some ideas, but you know, once I start booking matches, how the matches play out, and especially if the game forces somebody to win over who I'm trying to make win, then that's even more exciting. It's sometimes stressful, but it's more exciting because it forces me to come up with better storylines, you know, or come up with a different storyline, or try to switch up. It's actually happened already here. I had a couple of them. I didn't plan on Shinsuke Nakamura cashing in the Money in the Bank on on Randy Orton or Roman Reigns. No, wait, who was the belt? Who had the belt? I don't even remember now, because I'm sitting here doing all these matches. I can't remember which one of them had the belt at the time, but but I didn't plan on Shinsuke cashing in and actually at that moment and actually taking the belt off of him. So then I had to make up a whole nother storyline moving from that point, because I'm like, oh man, now he's the champ. You know, I got to move forward from here. It had to be Randy, I want to believe, or Rome. Damn, I can't remember which one it was that had the belt. We just came off of, I can't go back now. We just came off of one of the pay-per-views. We did Clash of Champions, where we did NXT versus WWE NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown. So at that time, yeah, because Randy Orton had beat Roman Reigns for the title, so Randy Orton was the champ. Now I remember. Okay, and then Shinsuke cashed in Money in the Bank on him. So I didn't even want Shinsuke. Honestly, I'll tell you this: I was trying not to even let Shinsuke. If you go back and watch that pay-per-view for Money in the Bank, I was purposely focused on trying to make sure Shinsuke and Samoa Joe didn't win Money in the Bank. Lo and behold, Shinsuke still ended up winning Money in the Bank. And just like, I wasn't necessarily trying to allow Dana Brooke to win. Like when I do Money in the Bank, because it is so difficult, and because the I guess algorithms with the game, that they don't have them focus as much on climbing the ladder. They focus more on beating each other up. That I know I have to set the ladder up, you know, then go up there, climb the ladder, unhook a couple of the rings or whatever, and then go back to just fighting, and allow the game to allow whoever to climb up the ladder and get the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like I try more to focus on the character I'm using. I want to try to keep maybe two wrestlers from getting it themselves. That's what I'm more focused on, and I'd rather let the computer pick who's going to climb and get that final ring unlocked and get the briefcase. So, and you saw like Dana Brooke got it, and what happened. So anyway, thanks. I don't know, I've probably been on here for like 25 minutes now, running my mouth, where I plan on only doing this for like 10 minutes. But be looking forward to, again, Raw coming up. I might even actually do this. I might get bored and do the Raw episode within the next 4 or 5 hours. So Raw, SmackDown Live, NXT. Don't forget, this one is not going to happen this week, so we're going to skip past that one, and we're going to actually do it here when Raw and SmackDown go to the United Kingdom, and we're going to do a special here to lead up to the NXT United Kingdom special, and then that's going to actually kick off officially, you know, really kick off the NXT UK having its own brand on this playlist. Alright, so enjoy your Saturday or whatever day that you might end up watching this, and I'll catch up with y'all later.